What is up, YouTube? JT, iamthetie, coming at you with the final episode of Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation. And in today's episode, you're going to notice that Yuffie and Tifa are both dead. You want to start the battle off against Ruby Weapon without having all your characters alive. You only want to have one of them alive. I decided to show you guys what the materia setup is on Cloud. You'll notice I have Elemental and Fire on Cloud. I had Elemental and Gravity as well, but that doesn't work. I'm just trying something out because I know that Ruby Weapon causes elemental damage. But basically, you're going to notice that I have Elemental and Fire on Yuffie as well. Basically, that way, if Ruby Weapon is to cast Ruby Flame, I absorb it as opposed to anything else. I don't think Tifa is necessarily a good partner for this fight. I actually, in retrospect, I would have rather used Sid. And you're going to notice that I'm going to speed this battle up a ton. So if any misdeal that you possibly have, you want to equip it on your characters. That way, if he were to cast Shadow Flare or Ultima, you're more likely to dodge it. You can see that I absorb Fire. Because of the Tetra Elemental, Tifa absorbs fire as well, along with the fact that I have added effect in Hades in her armor. It makes it so she's immune to confusion, which is going to really help me out. And you're going to notice the battle is sped to twice the normal speed, which I think makes the battle sound like super jazzy. But let's get right on into it, because apparently the fight with Ruby Weapon takes a really long time. Now the first thing you want to do is, because you want to start the battle off with one character, he's going to put his tentacles directly in the ground, and once he does that, you are free to attack him, because otherwise you cause 0 damage to him. And go ahead and cast Life 2, attach to all, magic, Master Magic along with all with Life 2 equals a full party team. And go ahead and throw some hero drinks on your characters. Ruby Ray causes a really nice chunk of damage and also causes confusion typically. But obviously, no one can get confused because they're all either immune to it because of a ribbon, or they have the added effect and Hades in their armor. So I'm not too worried about that. And go ahead and, throw the typical regen, the big guard, the different things like that, and just start throwing hero drinks on people. You could do the Knights of the Round technique, which is definitely a good thing to do. However, if every single time you cast Knights of the Round, Ruby Ray has this nasty thing where he actually counterattacks with Ultima. And obviously, if you have the Missteal, it's going to miss like 60% of the time, but that 40% where it hits, he's going to cause like 5,000 points of damage. Obviously, it messes up your Mime Chain, basically, so you could do that. I wouldn't suggest it. I like throwing Black Cauldron on him. Not to mention, Yuffie has added effect and Hades into her attack thing. And basically, the reason why I throw Black Cauldron and summon Hades against him is not because it causes a lot of damage, but because when it actually hits him, I think it throws slow on him. It potentially causes stop. And slowing down Ruby Weapon is very vital to what you want to do later on in the match. So you can see that he stopped, and I believe he's slowed at this point. Don't bother attacking the tentacles, because once you attack the tentacles, it gives him the ability to use his Whirl Sand attack again, which basically permanently removes one character from the battle. And as you can see, Tifa with the Premium Heart, the weird catch to using the Premium Heart, which is Tifa's ultimate weapon, is that it causes more damage the higher her limit break is. So when she has a really low limit gauge, she causes like no damage whatsoever. So that's why I start using Sid a little bit more when I can, as opposed to Tifa, which is a little bit too bad. But you can see that Omni Slash, after I think like 2 or 3 hero drinks, really doesn't cause all that much damage to Ruby Weapon, which is crazy. I have to mention that Ruby Weapon has amazing, I think you'd call it Vitality and Spirit, so like defense and special defense. So basically, that's the reason why I throw that many hero drinks on them, because I figure if I throw enough hero drinks on them, then they're going to be able to actually break through like this ironclad beast that is Ruby Weapon. So you can see 4x cut is totally your friend right here, because this is what I would like to do. I don't like the idea of continually trying to hit him with Knights of the Round and having him attack with Ultima, not to mention Knights of the Round takes way too long for me. I can't stand watching it for that long, so I'm doing the 4x cut thing. Obviously with added effect, Yuffie has the potential to possibly cast Stop on him as well, and if I mime Yuffie's 4x cut, then that means that Cloud has the ability to do that as well, so that's like 8 different turns where I could possibly hit him with Slow and Stop or anything like that. You'll notice that I believe that, yeah, the Tifa got paralyzed right there because she's not immune to Slow Petrify, but go ahead, just throw a Remedy on her. W item is a pretty nice thing to have on Yuffie. I think I had 2 4x cuts on her, so I put W item on her, and it kind of frees it up. Every single time a character gets low, I would suggest throwing an Elixir, using Cure 3, Regen, something along those lines. You see that every single time you hit him with a physical attack, he counterattacks with one of his tentacles, and the tentacle on the left does, I think, like 70%, takes away 70% of your MP, and the tentacle on the right either causes, takes away half of your HP or takes away 90% of your HP. So you want to be really careful about that. Obviously, you don't want him to string together the counter attack with a physical move along with like Ruby Light, because then that would take you out because it caused 9,000 points of damage plus another 3,000, and you can't live that. Thankfully, I do have final attack paired on all the characters, so if they do get taken out, it's not that big of a deal. And once again, Tifa's doing complete crap damage, and I don't get into like the main meat of what I want to do till a little bit later. But what I would suggest you guys do is I'm going to use Tifa just kind of like a healing character. I'd rather use her as to throw Mega Elixirs in the air, throw remedies in the air, and you can actually throw Dazers. I don't actually remember where I got all the Dazers from, but it's from fighting an enemy somewhere during the course of the game. I'm assuming you guys will probably have 2 at that point. So obviously if you have the W item trick, you can just multiply the Dazers, get yourself up to 50 or so. I don't think you need any more than that. And then use freaking Doom of the Living for the win. But then obviously at this point, you just go ahead, use Tifa. I would throw Dazers at him, because if you were to throw a Dazer and paralyze him, then when you actually hit him with a physical attack, he cannot counterattack with his 2 tentacles, and that's a really, really nice trick. Now, obviously, the reason why I started with the 2 people dead is that way he doesn't use the Whirl Sand attack. Eventually, as the battle wears on, drags along, he's going to use the Whirl Sand attack anyway, and he's going to eliminate a character. I really hope it's not Cloud or Yuffie, because if they take away Cloud or Yuffie, they're the ones that are actually doing damage, because Tifa really can't do anything with the Premium Heart unless he hits her into really high limit break, you know what I mean? Not to mention, Tifa is still not immune to like petrification and everything like that, so she's really teetering a fine line right here between being useful and being absolutely useless. But obviously he takes out Cloud, but thankfully I do have the Phoenix attached to it, and I was really worried here that if he takes out Cloud, it resets the hero drink counter that I threw on him, but based on the damage he does later on in the match, I don't think it does, so I'm a little bit surprised by that. But obviously, just throw some Big Guard back into the air just to get Barrier and M-Barrier up. That way, if he hits you with Ruby Light, it doesn't completely destroy you. And I'm going to keep on throwing Hero Drink just to be safe. That way Cloud can actually do some decent damage. He's only causing about 2,000 points of damage. Typically, I'm used to seeing him cause 9,999 points of damage, but that's totally okay. But obviously this battle is sped up so quickly because the battle of Ruby Weapon takes like a freaking long time. I guesstimate that it took me about 30 minutes to take him down, which I think is just a little bit too long for a video, and I don't want to split up the battle with Ruby Weapon into 2, so I figured I'd record it without my voice and then just kind of narrate over it, and then hopefully you guys can see the strategy in action, and then this will give you a really good idea. There's a ton of other really cool ways. I tried out a solo with a character. You can do a no materia run, but I already did that with Emerald Weapon, and basically it's the same exact strategy for Ruby Weapon, except for you throw Dazers at him in between, and it takes a really, really long time, so it's really not too fancy. Tifa actually does some really decent damage right there, because her limit break is almost really close to full, so that's really nice. I think I'm going to try to get her to mime the 4x cut, and then that will allow her to do a whole bunch of damage, but obviously he keeps on counterattacking with his tentacles, and that really hurts my team. So he can hit him. I think he's gonna hit either Yuffie or Tifa with Ruby Ray. So he takes Tifa out, and that resets her limit break, which like really, really sucks. But obviously at this point, I think when I was fighting the battle, I totally forgot about the Dazer trick until about halfway through. So I forget where I am at this point, but I think I'm gonna throw Big Guard and the other things back into the air, and then start throwing Dazers. And typically the way the battle goes for me is if I'm in haste mode, 4x cut with Yuffie plus 4x cut with Cloud, I think I can go through 2 4x cuts with Yuffie and then 1 with Cloud before Ruby Weapon he snaps out of his paralysis, and then I can just throw Dazers at him, and then that way you can make it so he never hits you with a counterattack, and that makes the battle really, really simple. So that's basically the tricks that I have for you, but obviously there's a lot more video to go along, so I have to first of all say thank you guys so much for watching this LP. It's been a little bit of a doozy. I know it's going to be crazy. Obviously, if this helps you guys out with fighting Ruby Weapon, I am so glad, because Ruby Weapon is definitely one of the harder bosses that you can fight in the entire game. Ruby Weapon's a pain in the ass, and the reason why he's just like a pain in the ass to me is because he causes status effects on you, and I think bosses that cause status effects are probably some of the hardest bosses to deal with in the entire game. I don't think like direct damage really bothers me nearly as much as status effects do normally, because once they get like poison on you and all those other things, it becomes really inconvenient. Obviously Ultima doesn't cause nearly as much damage when you got the barrier up, and attacking him multiple times with 4x cut is very, very effective. You daze him, throw a Mega Elixir and a Remedy in the air as Tifa is completely frozen, and that pretty much, I think it's pretty much guaranteed to win you the fight. It kind of drags on, but that's the only complaint that I really have about this battle otherwise. Obviously, using the W item trick is kind of your saving grace. So, Doom of the Living for the freaking win. And this looks ridiculous when you speed it up to double speed. But obviously at that point, what else did I want to say? I wanted to thank... I wanted to give individual shoutouts, but if I miss anybody, I would just feel like super guilty from the bottom of my heart for like the rest of the time that this video has ever been up. So I just have to thank everybody. You guys know who you are, because I see you guys post comments all the time. I love reading your comments. You guys, it means so much that you guys leave comments on these videos and do all those other little things. Obviously, I know that the first video got featured like on the main front page whenever you typed in Final Fantasy VII, which really helped this Let's Play gain a lot of speed. I really hope that that the way that I narrated was good for you guys, because obviously I wanted to focus on gameplay action, which it sounds like this really helped you guys out. And then I also wanted to focus on the storyline by reading the dialogue, which I hope I did a pretty decent job with. I'm not like a voice actor or anything, but I do like to read things out loud, and it just takes me back to my childhood when I used to read to my little sister. So that's the reason why I decided to do it, and I hope that I was able to put like a little bit of an ounce of emotion into it, because I feel like these are so emotionally driven. And then the battles always give you this time where you can talk about stuff going on in like your actual life, tips and tricks about the game. So I feel like RPGs are like essentially like some of the best Let's Plays that you can find on YouTube. But I'm like super picky about RPGs. Like I think like the main version of this game was like in such low quality. I was like I wanted to redo it, put my own little spin on it, read the dialogue. That way hopefully you guys get the maximum amount of enjoyment out of it. And obviously Doom of the Living plus Omni Slash plus Tifa throwing dasers at him is an extremely effective way to take him out. Obviously you never want to attack the two tentacles on the back. It's like a really bad like hentai, right? Like a total hentai monster. I don't know, but obviously at some point Ruby should go down. Ruby weapon does have about 800,000 HP, and because you can't spam Knights of the Round, he takes a lot longer to kill than Emerald weapon. Although, yeah, no, it takes longer even if you were to do Knights of the Round and he were to not counterattack. Because imagine if he were to counterattack every single Knights of the Round with Ultima, it turns the battle basically that would be 20 minutes into a 40-minute battle. So that's actually one of the longer ways that you can take on Emerald weapon, or Ruby weapon I should say, which is a total pain in the butt. But obviously I think Ruby weapon should be pretty close to dead coming up right here, as I'm really hoping. I was trying to time the Dazer right there, that way I hit him right when he snaps out of it, but obviously I think I was about 5 seconds too early, so obviously he's wiggling, he's able to hit me with a counterattack, and that's too bad, but basically this is the entire strategy that you need. Final attack plus revive, 4x cut on as many characters as possible. No, he took away Yuffie with the Whirl Sand. That was like my worst nightmare, because Yuffie was causing so much damage. But obviously at this point, basically the only thing I have to make sure is that Tifa does not go down. Obviously she can cause a lot of damage with her physical attacks because she has really high in the limit break, but she can get petrified. So if she gets slow petrified, I need to throw a remedy on her, and I'm just going to have her throw dasers and just kind of attack in the meantime. That way he doesn't counterattack. And then I think I can go ahead and go do the limit break, and I think I'm gonna freaking I'm gonna miss one of them. Go figure. But Beat Rush causes I think 9,999 points of damage. I don't know why the other ones don't cause that much damage overall, but Beat Rush does. And I think Final Heaven causes 9,999 points of damage as well. So that was a good 20,000 points of damage. So I'm totally fine with that. And Ruby weapon should be going down pretty soon, so once again, if this helps you out in any particular way, I'm more than happy to help. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed that video, and obviously I have some other stuff that I have recorded right after this, because I wanted to finish off the LP with a live narration like I always do, because I just think live narrations are like probably the most fun that I have. And without further ado, I just have to thank you guys once again. This is Ruby Weapon, and this is the only way that I plan on tackling him. I'll have a couple of fail montages of me tackling him, but that's Ruby Weapon, and that's a really long battle, and we get the Desert Rose. So thanks once again for tuning in with me, and I will be right back in a little bit, alright? This is super funky music, right? It's like, I love when it's like super, when it's insanely fast. Okay, I'll be back. Alright guys, now that I have the desert rose, let's find out what the heck we get for getting said flower that blooms every, what, 1,000 years or whatever crap like that. So let's head over to the village of Calm and talk to the old fogey, and let's find out if we get anything good. It's gotta be better than friggin' fighting Emerald Weapon, right? Because Emerald Weapon, the items were so good. Like, here we go. Let's find out what he gives us. Let's find out what he gives us. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I totally know what he's going to give me already. I can't even. Like I spoiled before, the item that he gives you is not very good. It's like the equivalent of getting a cup of noodles or something for your birthday. Something along those lines. It kind of reminds me of like when you collect all 100 golden Skulltulas in an Ocarina of Time. And you know, when you get that, you get like access to what, like 200 rupees every single time you talk to them. So it's like infinite amount of money, but by the time you collect 100 is the end of the game. So he's gonna go on his journey to pray for the souls of his departed friends, and obviously we brought him peace or whatever the heck. But he gives us a gold chocobo, which we already have. So I don't know. What's up, chocobo? What the heck should we call this thing, right? Should we call this... I'm gonna call this something that I think it totally is, and I'm gonna call it Fail. And the reason why I'm gonna call it Fail is because I'm gonna feed it some greens, and I'm gonna show you guys how fast this baby runs. Like how a couple of things get up to 88 miles per hour, specifically a DeLorean that goes back in time, or something like that. I would like to go back in time and make sure that this bird never existed, because this bird is really slow. So I'm gonna go ahead and feed it some greens really quickly. And matter of fact, I'm going to show you guys me feeding it greens, and I'm going to bring it over to the Chocobo Square, and we're going to race it and see how fast this thing is, right? This thing's got to be fast. Like after fighting Ruby Weapon, who's like the most difficult dude ever, you figure that this thing's got to be like blazingly fast. How fast was our particular Chocobo that we have currently? Like 65 miles an hour? Converting the kilometers per hour into miles per hour. I believe it was something like 60-something miles per hour. It was really fast, right? So, before I wrap up this Let's Play, there's a couple of other videos I think I might do. I might do a montage of level 4 limit breaks, because someone suggested that, and I thought that was super cool. I still think I might want to do one of those, like, Final Fantasy Redux, where you summarize the entire storyline in, like, whatever smaller length of time, which I thought would be really neat. At least give people who don't have access to Final Fantasy, like a better understanding of what's going on. I don't have any Cyclus screens, really? Okay. Well, this is totally Fail. I'm gonna go get some Cyclus screens from Chocobo Sage, and I'm going to go ahead and feed Fail. It works so well. And we're gonna see how fast this baby runs, so I will be right back. Alright, I am back from my little errand, and let's feed this baby some greens and see how fast it goes, right? So, here we go. Feed my freaking failed Chocobo something good. Show me something good. And, I don't know. I guess this is, I think, gonna be the last episode of the LP, but, like, well, yeah, it is gonna be the last episode of the LP, because everything else is just gonna be fun, right? So, I just have to say, before, you know, this video wraps up, I don't know when the video is going to end, because I don't know how long my Chocobo racing endeavors will go. But, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and for sticking around for all of this madness. Fighting Emerald and Ruby Weapon. Obviously, I have no intention of fighting Ruby Weapon in any cool fashion. I think I might do a montage, though, of a fashion that I tried. Someone did a really cool run with Red 13 where they soloed it, but unknowing to me, apparently what happens is that he cut out 2.5 hours of video when he posted it online. So I was under the impression that it only took like 10 minutes to kill him in this fashion, so I tried it, and about 2 hours into the video I realized I don't have enough time in my life, you know, to do a solo run against this guy. So I figured it was a total waste of time, and I felt really stupid, but I might do a fail montage of that, because I couldn't even pull it off anyway. So, look forward to that. And with that, I'm gonna keep on feeding this thing. Dude, this thing's really hungry for something that's really crappy and doesn't know how to run. So, I don't know. I'm gonna keep on feeding it. I'll just feed it the rest of the greens that I got right here. Come on. And I'm gonna take it over to Chocobo Square and let's race this bad boy, and that's gonna finish off the LP. So I will be right back. Oh my gosh, I feel like this is the equivalent of going to Disneyland after you win the Super Bowl, right? What are you gonna do now? You just defeated Emerald and Ruby Weapon. What are you gonna do? I'm going to Disneyland. I mean, I'm going to the the gold saucer. Where am I going? Estelle, Esther. I don't even. Estelle is that one lady from Friends, right? But let's go ahead and race fail and see how fast you can go. C-rank chocobo, that ain't no big thing. Short race because I don't want to make it too long. And Tifa wants to ride it. Whatever, that is totally fine with me. And come on. What's my reward? It runs at 88 miles, 88 kilometers an hour. So it's barely faster than the chocobos in the C class. And hold on, and the max stamina on this bird is 184. Really? Like it has lower stamina than the birds in the class C. I don't even know. Yeah, once again, guys, if you can think of anything name something in another video game that you think is completely fail. You know, like the Gold Skulltula thing when you collect all 100 and you get like infinite money when you don't need it at that point, because I think this is one of the biggest letdowns ever in the history of video games. I have to admit that beating Ruby Weapon is really, really cool, because he is particularly difficult, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and before this race ends, I have to thank everybody for tuning in. As always, I'm going to be studying for the MCAT and other things coming up, so Final Fantasy IX is down to 2, but it is not going to be coming up particularly soon. Probably going to be coming up after the MCAT, because I like to tackle Final Fantasy stuff once I do that major block of studying and get that completely out of the way. So look forward to Final Fantasy IX. I'm going to be titling it a walkthrough. I'm going to be trying to use my blue snowball microphone as opposed to my Logitech cheapy headset that I'm using right now. And hopefully, I'm amazed that this bird can still outrun the competition in the C class so well. I think it speaks better to like how good of a jockey Tifa is. But with that, guys, I just want to thank you all for tuning in once again. That wraps up everything in this game. Obviously, we have tackled Ruby Weapon, Emerald Weapon, Sephiroth, Genova, you name it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope these videos have been helpful for anybody who has been looking for gameplay-related ways of defeating some of the things that give them a little bit of trouble. I hope for those of you who watched it for the storyline that I was able to fully immerse you in the storyline. I am going to try to do an even better job come Final Fantasy IX. And with that said, I thank you guys so much for watching this Let's Play with me. It's been a hell of a lot of fun to play this game. I think it's really, really obvious when I narrate that I really, really enjoy this game. And yeah, I just have to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, the depths of my soul. I just really appreciate it. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the series. It's a little bit long, but you guys trooped through it. And that's going to wrap it up. So with that said, I am done. So I'll catch you all soon. Bye.